Everyone, I was told I could have 30 minutes. Just wanted that look on your face. No, I do not have 30 minutes, and I will not be taking 30 minutes. But what a treat it is to be here with you in person today at the IHSA Finals. This is the first time I've been here to an IHSA Finals. I've been to a lot of state and national journalism events, as you probably know if you've seen me around. And it's great to feel that energy again, to see the students gather. They're excited to be here, they're excited to do journalism, and we're here to celebrate their success, to celebrate the pinnacle of scholastic journalism here in this state. And we also gather to celebrate your success and scholastic journalism in general. You are, of course, the engines who drive their success. You're advising them, you guide them and steer them toward that success. So congratulations to all of you today for driving, in some cases, literally your students here, and then also the drive behind their success. Congratulations also to Dan and to Stan and all the other award recipients that are going to be announced this afternoon as well. I was so proud to receive this award a year ago by Zoom, which was also really exciting to see a lot of my former students on that Zoom call as well, so it was special in that way. But it's very appropriately named for James Tidwell, a national expert on press law and a champion of the First Amendment rights for student journalists. In my work at National Scholastic Press Association and Associated Collegiate Press, I was very fortunate to cross paths with Professor Tidwell several times, and I just know him to be a giant in our field, and I'm so humbled by the fact that I was honored with this award. When I left my classroom in Washington State in 2007, I thought my newspaper and yearbook deadline days were behind me. But after more than 7 years at NSPA and then at SNO, I realized the classroom was where I belonged. So when I saw the opportunity to teach at the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools, I didn't hesitate more than a few seconds. And 2 months later, I had moved from Minneapolis to Chicago. I knew one of the first things I needed to do was to join the Illinois Journalism Education Association, and I'm very grateful to IJEA, where I'm now a lifetime member, and to this wonderfully supportive community of advisors around the state, many of who I knew before or knew by name and reputation. I've learned from you. I'm thankful to develop new friendships and to deepen others. I'm especially thankful to some specific people, Wayne Brassler, of course, my predecessor at Lab, Randy Sweikel, Stan Zoller, Susan Tantillo, Sally Renaud, and many others for their support and encouragement over many, many years. And of course, to my amazingly talented students, past and present. And finally, my departmental colleague, Jana Rumble, who since 2019 has been one of the best things about teaching at my school, and also the best teaching partner anyone could hope to have. I wish all of you have a colleague as wonderful as I do. One of the wonderful aspects about teaching journalism is that it's constantly changing. I've taught lead writing basically the same way since 1997, but even AP style evolves, and not just in the hyphen rules or how to spell website. And in the past 5 to 7 years, there's never been a dull moment, not just with AP style. But it's also been a time of great challenge and great controversy in our field. Professional and student journalists have produced outstanding work. They've inspired a renaissance in American journalism. They've held the powerful accountable, and they've sought to reconcile tension in our school, social, cultural, and political spheres. Yet journalism as we have known it for decades is now experiencing a rapid change, and our scholastic institutions may not be equipped to adapt. Student journalists and their advisors face these same issues of dwindling public confidence, increasing techniques for deception and confusion, and shifts in understanding of the role of journalism in our democracy. Some elected officials, media personalities, celebrities, and thousands of their followers continue to relentlessly criticize, mock, and attack the press, creating and substituting their own narrative for the reported, verified truth. They take advantage of a decades-long decline in confidence in the news media to discredit the press and to destroy trust in the Fourth Estate. Scholastic journalists have always had to fight to establish their credibility and to gain the trust of their communities, even as the funding that was cut in the Great Recession or lost during the pandemic has not fully returned. And few schools have adopted comprehensive media or information literacy curriculums, and even among my own beginning journalism students, I've encountered deep skepticism about the motives and the agenda of all news media, not just those already known to have an ideological slant. And Gen Z is right to be skeptical. They've grown up in a time where institutions have proven untrustworthy, where one's image is curated, and a version of the truth can be selected. While social media filters and lenses are mostly harmless and detectable, their sinister cousins, disinformation campaigns, Twitter bots, and deepfakes have the potential to erode the foundation of democracy by manufacturing alternatives to facts and misleading people in ways that lead to harmful outcomes. Schools and their journalism programs have embraced digital tools to connect with an audience and share information, but very few have proactive policies to address the education and ethics needed for this frontier. The antidote is truth and authenticity. It's time to examine our role in perpetuating the outdated practice of both sides journalism. The racial reckoning of 2020 highlighted how at various times members of the press have used, and some still use, objectivity as a way to avoid discomfort and full reporting. Giving time to both sides provides false equivalence to perspectives under the veneer of being unbiased. Journalists should definitely seek to understand and to report, so when the truth is apparent, they have a responsibility to avoid perpetuating the objectivity of the dominant group and to use language that is accurate, fair, and transparent. Audiences today expect the press to do more. They expect news organizations to recognize an expanded definition of harm, redefined boundaries for how sources are identified and used, and the impact that publication can have on vulnerable or marginalized groups. Journalists must seek to understand another's experience and to recognize their story as their truth. As journalism educators, we're at the front line in our classrooms and newsrooms, and our student journalists are gatekeepers and agenda setters to public enlightenment. They provoke thought and consideration along a range of perspectives, while filtering fringe ideas that are extreme or long settled. Journalists should seek to be as transparent with the audience as possible, helping audiences understand what is authentic and valuable and what is fake. We must equip student journalists with skills to be skeptical as they step into the role of watchdog, respectful and unequivocal, but also sensitive. Their authentic voices deserve our respect, and we should find ways to help our audience to understand those who are different and to find commonalities. To increase authentic voices, we cannot restrict the definition of scholastic journalism only to those enrolled in an official school-sanctioned class. When we maintain a narrow definition of student journalist, we exclude students who want to tell stories about their communities, but who lack resources, agency, or prerequisite permissions. Scholastic journalism must evolve to remain viable and relevant. Educators must increase teaching core values of truth, responsibility, and accountability. And furthermore, we must engage students and our audience in deeper discussions of ethical behavior around digital manipulation and disinformation as part of a larger discussion of how to determine the truth. We must even question some traditional, reliable tactics as audience members share about the impact of our coverage. And each educator, each one of us, has the responsibility to help evolve journalism to equip the next generation. When we evolve, we can empower more young people, we can amplify the marginalized, we can challenge the status quo. So I encourage you to embrace the change. Lean into evolving, even if it can be uncomfortable, and I think you'll find that the journalism is worth it. Thank you so much for this honor and for the time today.